Welcome to the Ditchy Chicks with Jamie and Mary.
I'm Jamie. It's me, Jamie.
It's me, Mary. Maui.
We're gonna have a good time today.
Oh, my notes.
My retainer.
Oh, God. My retainer. Oh, gosh. I have asthma. That actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was. I pet a llama. Jimmy's mom. You can't run from me, Jimmy's mom. You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember those? Have you seen those? That was like years ago.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Welcome. We're off to a great start.
Yes, this is not at all what we planned on talking about today.
No.
So,
Plot twist, we're talking about Jimmy Neutron today.
The good old days of Jimmy Neutron, boy genius.
We found, it was before we had our daughter, but we found the Jimmy Neutron movie on Netflix and we watched it, and it was the one where the aliens took all the parents and they're like, this is the best thing ever, and then they're like, I miss my mom. Then they have to go find the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about marriage, long-term relationships, 50-50 expectations, basically how we manage our relationships, because we're both married.
And we know everything about marriage.
Right. But we will also probably be delving into past relationships, and what we learned from them, how they kind of affected how we handle relationships now.
Yeah. Just big past relationship lessons.
Yeah.
For sure. We have all had them. We've all gone through some shitty relationships.
Oh my god.
And have come out better on the other side.
Yep.
For it.
Even if it broke you in the moment, you probably turned out better now. And if you're going through it right now, where you went through a relationship that kind of broke you and you're in the broken little piece, just know that it will get better and you will learn from it. It might be rough, but you'll get there.
And I know that sounds super cliche to hear that, because everyone always says, oh, it'll get better. And you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it doesn't
I feel like
shit.
Yeah. But it really does. And it also goes back to things like, things that you just believe.
Mhm.
Like, do you believe there's a person meant out there for you? Because the person that just hurt you and left you ain't it.
No.
For real. I'm like, yes, they broke you, and you, for what you believe love is and how it feels, you could have felt like that was the person that you're always going to be in love with forever. And it's not. Yeah. I'm here to tell you right now, it's not.
He is not the love of your life. Hit him with your car. He's just a guy. I love that so much.
That's true though. I 100%, the person who hurts you and like emotionally wrecks you is never, and I repeat, never going to be the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. They never will be. That is a horrible mindset to have, to think that the person who just left you and broke you is still going to be your forever person. That's not. Nobody. You don't get treated like that by your forever person.
Right.
You just don't.
And Jamie and I have very different experiences with finding our forever people, because we were just talking about this. Jamie didn't have a lot of experience with dating in high school or
I had
as
zero
as a child.
Because I was ugly.
You weren't fucking ugly, Jamie.
I have ugly duckling syndrome.
But I had the opposite. Jamie had a lot of experience dating as an adult.
Mary developed in high school, and I didn't.
Whereas I dated a lot in high school. But my thing was, it wasn't really people in my high school. It was one person from my high school and then one person in the town over. And then I also did a lot of like internet dating.
Okay. I totally thought you were going to say Bandcamp.
No. Yuck. Bandcamp was at the school and it was not overnight. That would have been yucky.
Yucky.
But so comparing our experiences will be quite interesting because
Yeah.
we would have learned different things at different times.
Yes.
And I started dating Jamie's brother my junior year of high school, towards the end of it, his senior year of high school, and we've been together ever since. And we got married on our 5-year anniversary. So my entire adult relationship has been one person. So
Versus I've only ever had adult
yeah.
relationships. And there's only been 4 of them. Um, and there only will ever be 4 of them. Cause fuck everybody else. You know when you find that person because
you know who you are.
Immediately say, fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
So do you want to start? Do you have a couple things?
I do. I
say that as I glance down at your full page of notes. Do you have a couple things, Mary?
I know. Do we want to start with past relationships and what we've learned from them?
Sure.
Okay.
Chronologically.
I'll start because since I started in high school, I started like dating seriously my freshman year of high school. And I dated this guy for a while, and it was really good. He wasn't terrible to me or anything. He was a good guy. But I started to realize over time that we were just different people.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had this friend, and they had been friends like their whole childhood. And I could kind of tell that they were meant to be together, and they just had like this connection that him and I didn't. And
you know what's funny is I know who you're talking about, and it's funny because either one of them or the other one comes up on my people you may know on Facebook
really?
all the time. Yes.
That's
and
funny.
because it's the picture of the both of them, and it's just fun because like of course I don't know them,
Right.
but it's just like we have mutual friends.
Yeah, it's me.
So yeah. It's me. I'm the mutual friend.
Yeah.
So it's just like they come up a lot, but I just like always see them and I always think of you telling me this story.
But so, and I think as a 14-year-old girl, a freshman in high school, like this is a very mature mindset for me. Because and a lot of people from the outside viewing me date would beg to differ probably, because I did date a lot, but it's because I was looking for what I wanted, and I was looking for a long-term person. And none of the people I was dating were long-term people until I met Dylan.
Mm.
But
it's hard to find somebody with a long-term mindset in high school.
yes. But this person, I ended up breaking up with him because I just knew that we weren't going to mesh well later on in life, because I think at the time, if I remember correctly, at the time he wanted to like be a doctor and do big things, blah 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 blah. He didn't want a family. He does not like babies. And I, at the time, 14-year-old me, I wanted to move to Australia and be a musician and have a family and do big things with my life, and he did not. And then also seeing that him and his friend together, how well they clicked, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And like, 'cause I felt like I was wasting his time, not my time, but his. So I broke up with him, and a lot of people might think that that's a bullshit excuse for a 14-year-old and that I'm lying, but I'm here to tell you I'm
Still
not.
to this day, you were not lying.
Right. And plot twist, they actually got married. They are married now.
Oh, they are married. Wow.
They got married before me and Dylan got married.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They went to the courts and had their own little thing, and then they had a big reception later on. So they actually got married pretty soon after we graduated, because I remember I think it was they got engaged right before me and Dylan did. But anyways, they're married now. So that was my
you
first
were
one.
in the way.
I know.
But your intuition was on with that one.
Oh yeah,
you were
absolutely.
just like, I'm not meant to be here.
Yeah.
I need to leave.
I was like, why would I keep taking up space when I'm not meant to be taking up space here? And they dated other people in between that time before they actually started dating, because they didn't start dating until our senior year of high school.
Okay.
But I fucking knew it. I'm here to say I fucking knew it.
Called it.
And then my sophomore year, I dated somebody else for less time than I dated the other person. And I think, looking back, I think I kind of spooked him again with the permanence mentality. Because when he I would say left me. I was making plans for our future, and I'm a fucking sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with me?
A lot of people do that
Yeah.
though, because everyone's made a certain way.
Mhm.
You're literally made to think
It's
permanence
my
in a relationship.
North Node in Cancer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're thinking of putting together a home and a family and whatnot.
Yeah.
And me as a Cancer sun, I always thought the same thing.
Right.
And that's why I never really gave anyone too much time of my
Yeah.
time in high school, because I was like, none of you are permanence type people.
None of you are worth my time.
Yeah.
But
I hope nobody from high school is listening to this. Or do I? I want you all to know. You are worth my time.
But so when I was starting to make plans, he had befriended another girl, and I didn't know it, but they were hanging out behind my back.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he had suggested taking a break, and
Aww.
I naively said, "Yeah, that's fine."
Aww.
A week into the break, I go over to his house to talk about it, and I thought that we were okay and we were going to be staying together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get home, his parents drop me off, and he tells me, "Hey, my parents are making me break up with you." I find out from his best friends. I find out from his best friends he was cheating on me with the other girl. So I think coming out of that relationship, I kind of that kind of broke me a lot. Because that was also right before my dad left my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then after my dad left my mom, I was on this like little not mean streak, but I was doing like bad kid. No, I wasn't doing bad kid things, but like my friend and her boyfriend, this was like right before I started dating Dylan.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with them, and my mom didn't want me talking to this boy anymore because she was trying to teach me self-respect. And I was texting him and not telling her. Yeah. And he had wanted to hang out, and my mom knows the story. Mm-hmm. And my friend, she goes, "Well, why don't you do this? Tell your mom that you're coming over to my house, and we'll go over to my boyfriend's house, and then we'll leave my boyfriend's house and go hang out with him, like my ex." Yeah. I said, "Cool." Well, my friend's mom comes looking for her at her house, at her dad's house, because she was living with her dad. Mm-hmm. And he goes, "She's at Mary's house." So her mom comes to they said they were at the boyfriend's house. Mm-hmm. She goes to the boyfriend's house looking, and the boyfriend's mom says, "I thought they were at Mary's house." So they go to my mom's house.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
So they go to my mom's house, and my mom's like, "They're not here." So my mom calls me, and she goes, "Where are you?" And immediately after she said that, I go, "She knows! She knows!" So I go out into the hallway, and I'm like, I'm with them, and blah 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 blah. And I spilled the beans because I was like, why would I continue to lie to her if I? And she wasn't.
Yeah,
she wasn't mad at me. She was disappointed, but she knew I was hurting, and I was just trying to repair it. But I started seeing him more after that because my mom was like, "You know what? It's you do whatever you want to do. I won't hold you back." And then, I went to go see him at his work, and we ended up making out after his shift was done. And then I go home to find out he's got a girlfriend. And I immediately was like, "What the fuck? What's wrong with you?" And so that kind of taught me some like self-respect after that, because I haven't talked to him since. I was like, I'm fucking done. Yeah. Like, I cannot do this anymore for my sake and her sake.
He was a boy.
Right.
He was a stupid boy.
He was a year younger than me too. So I don't blame him. That's my
audacity.
Fault. Yeah. But I just found out, I think I found out from my mom that he's engaged now too.
Oh, well,
I'm just in everybody's fucking way. So from that relationship, I learned some self-respect. And then I was telling you, I think like a week ago, about a different ex that I also learned more self-respect from, because that was just, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But that was a whole thing. And I also learned
about that. Good. We don't want to hear about it.
But all in all, I think from past relationships, I learned a lot of self-respect, and I learned I learned a lot of what I liked in a man, what I didn't like in a man, what I was looking for, and that all kind
Yeah.
of led me to Dylan. Which is funny that I kind of brought up my North Node being in Cancer. And for those of you that don't know, astrology, your North Node tells you where you're going in life,
where you're supposed to be going,
right? So
and what you're supposed to be working towards.
Cancer is like the homemaker, the mother, the nurturer. And my North Node being in Cancer is very much so like I'm built to be a homemaker and built to be a mom,
raising children.
Dylan's North Node is in Capricorn, which is the opposite.
My North Node's in Capricorn.
Right, which I think is so funny that he and I are attracted to each other in that way.
Well, it's
because we balance each other very, very well in the
I was going to say that's a very positive thing, because if he is more concerned with working towards career, it's easy for him to do that because you already have the home taken care of.
Exactly.
And it's easy for you to have the home taken care of because he's already working on the money and the career.
Yep.
So
which is what we're working towards right now.
Right. So that's so beneficial for you both to have. I was actually talking to my husband about that a few days ago. And because currently in our spot in life right now, where we're at right now, we're not actually working towards what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why our lives feel like a mess. Like if we both cut our hair. When do we ever cut our hair?
When you have when you have a mental break.
Crisis.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because he's got gorgeous hair and it's short now. It's very, very short.
I mean, it's just in time for summer though. At least he won't be dying in the heat.
It was spur of the moment this morning though.
Oh.
He just went to the bathroom and then called me in there and he's like, "Hey, are you doing anything? Do you have a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I look and he's got half of his hair cut. And I'm like, "Oh,
your beautiful hair!
Where'd your luscious locks go?"
Yeah.
But to be fair, I cut my hair yesterday.
Yeah.
Like I got like 5 inches off of it.
Man, I might just have you cut my hair.
Oh, I would love to cut your hair. Okay. But my North Node is in Capricorn. And currently I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
The opposite of what I should be doing. Versus Alex, he has a lot in his 8th house. Very much he's got an 8th house stellium, like just almost all of his chart is like big 8th house energy.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is other people's money and how other people's money affect you.
Okay.
So if I'm supposed to be the career person and in his chart another person's money affects him, that's my money affecting him.
Right.
Like, and also it honestly, if he were to be a stay-at-home dad, he'd be really fucking great stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's Mr. Mom sometimes when I'm not around. He does everything.
Yeah.
He does everything, which is nice because I want to do everything and I can't because most of the time I have either postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, or I'm just still healing.
Yeah.
And I also have ADHD. So he's like, "It's okay. I'll do the laundry. Oh, it's okay that you only did half the dishes and forgot that you were doing them because you had to go do this. I'll finish them up."
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, "Oh, you're fine."
I didn't even realize that was your foot.
Playing footsie.
Yeah.
Playing footsie with me.
Give me your toes, Jamie.
Let's interlock our toes. See how much money we can make off those pictures.
Maybe by the shoreline in the moonlight and we'll hold toes. Not to change the topic, but real quick, it was like 3 a.m. and all of my friends were texting in our Snapchat group, and I went downstairs to get water, and I had the light for the door of the refrigerator on so I could see the water, and I took a selfie in the light, and I said, meet me by the glow of the refrigerator door water light, and I sent it to all of them. None of them said anything, assholes. None of them thought it was funny, but I did, and so did Dylan, and that's all that matters. You guys suck.
Yeah, they're so regular.
God.
My God. Or maybe they all just fell asleep at the same time.
They were talking about like Germany or anime or something. Fuck if I know.
Lame.
Something. Or like the laws in Japan. They're fucking... I don't know.
Look at them being cultural and
I know.
learned people. But I forgot what we were talking about before. Oh, your
and I finished with
astrology.
your
lessons?
I finished with my lessons though. So I don't know if you wanted to continue with your lessons.
Have lessons.
Yes.
My first relationship was very, it was like, my first relationship was one of those relationships that you see in the movies. Like, it just doesn't ever seem real.
Yeah.
It happens in such a cliche way that it's not cliche.
Yeah.
Because nobody meets in that way anymore. Because,
right.
So, first relationship ever, I was 20, and this guy was like, a neighbor a couple doors down, and he was in a band. Every band geek like me would want to meet a guy in a band.
I wanted to be with a guy in a band.
Yeah.
Specifically Luke Hemmings. That would be awesome. Love that man.
Who that is.
He's the lead singer of 5 Seconds of Summer.
Oh, I could have fucking guessed that.
He is a hot Australian man, let me tell you that.
That's why you wanted to go to Australia.
Yeah, because I did want to move to the same town that they're from. But what's awesome now is I'm going to go see them in August. And it's like a VIP ticket, and we get to go like to the sound check and everything. I'm kind of geeking out. Like, I'm living my, like, I'm like playing fan fictions in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, like, what if I get to kiss him? And I'm like, Mary, you're married. Shut up. I have to like reel it in.
You're married and you're not 14 anymore.
But Luke Hemmings is only a couple years older than me, so.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, continue. Now you guys know that I'm a creepy asshole.
Mary's getting hot over here. Anyways, and I'll attribute this to the fact that I made a vision board across my entire bedroom wall, like not 2 weeks before I met this man.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize, it was like an accident. I didn't even mean to make a vision board. I just wanted a whole collage on my wall of nothing but music and band stuff and whatever, classic rock, everything I liked at the time. Vintage, classic.
Your vintage stuff. Edgy stuff.
Vintage edgy. Yeah. There we go. That's what I was looking for. But so we ended up meshing so well together, and it was just like one of those relationships. It's like, how did we like not know that we lived so close together?
Yeah.
And just how did we end up being so similar, like such similar people and into the same things? And
it almost seemed like one of those, like, it was meant to be fake things.
Fated.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was destiny.
Yeah. And that relationship also ended very quickly because he was traveling around in a band.
Yeah.
And that hurt so bad. I still don't have a time in my life where I've ever felt as much hurt as I did then.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't like a death in the family.
Yeah.
Because aside from a death in the family, that's the most hurt I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And I can still I still have residual pain from that.
Right.
Like if I think about it long enough, I will still feel that exact same hurt.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, it's that lasting, like, traumatic.
Well, and it's like we said a few episodes ago, is like trauma lives on in your body.
Yeah.
Your brain might be able to push it down or forget about it, and you might be able to convince yourself that it doesn't hurt anymore, but like your body will.
Yeah. Your body remembers it. And my body still remembers like this kind of pain. And it sucks because it was my first relationship, so I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And I'm very secretive person.
Yeah.
Private. I like to keep to myself. About, like my emotions and how I feel. At the time I did. Now I'm more open because I just don't give a shit.
Right.
But at that time
you've matured. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was very closed off to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was not open to letting the relationship blossom like I thought I was.
Right. That's how I was in the beginning of the relationship with Dylan. I was very emotionally immature.
Yeah.
Because of my past relationships. and also what was going on with my dad at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be open with him. I was afraid.
Right.
I think
scary.
I
It's
think
scary
what it
being
was for me was
vulnerable.
I was afraid of being open because I was afraid that he was going to hurt me like everybody else did. I was
Yeah.
afraid that I was going to be disrespected or for whatever reason, even though he'd never given me any hint that he was like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
You kind of get like a shelter dog where you're just afraid.
Yeah.
Yep. And I wasn't like that because it's not like I had any previous relationships that made me closed off.
Right.
I just was naturally like that.
It was, yeah.
My entire childhood, like I preferred to be closed off.
Yeah.
And plus, like, you know, part of me was like, I kind of want you to work for it a little bit, you know?
Right.
Like I kind of
sometimes you have to make them to know if they actually deserve you or not.
Yeah.
But to a point.
Yeah. But at this point a lot of it was just me not wanting to open up more and not wanting to be vulnerable more and me just being naive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was 21 years old. I was naive. The world was nothing was serious.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know where I was going. I was trying to do college and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Or it hadn't worked and I was trying to go back and it was not a thing. I had shit jobs and nothing. So it's not like I was anything.
Jeez, fix your tire. I'm sorry.
Lifted trucks. A lot of lifted trucks go by here.
I don't even think it was lifted. I think the tires were just flat.
I saw it. They were big tires, so that's probably what's creating the noise, like the thick tread and big tires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Man, that truck was so cool going by. That was lifted.
I bet you he's got a big dick. I bet you that guy fucks.
That was a panty dropper truck.
Oh my god. Panty
we don't
dropper
belong
truck.
in the country.
No, it's nice living out here.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm too judgmental to be out here.
I just hate country. I hate country music. I love the country.
Bo Burnham vibes.
Yes.
Tall girl with a straw hat.
I know. Like country music.
That is a scarecrow.
It's literally like that. Yeah. Like
I love that man. That's another celebrity I love.
With my jean shorts.
Yeah.
And her red lipstick.
Drinking beer on the lake. Yeah. Going fishing. Oh no, I'm drowning. Wow, we got so off topic. Fuck that truck going by. Look what he did to us.
Look at what our ADHD has done to us. God. Anyways, but at that point I learned that I need to be more open.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned from that relationship. I also learned that I do have a knack for getting what I actually want, but not knowing that that's not actually what I want. Or like getting what I want before I'm ready for it.
Right. And maybe it's not so much getting what you want and it not actually being what you want, but maybe it's more like it's not what you need, you know, like on a soul level.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like I do believe, because I believe in soulmates, I believe he is one of my soulmates in my life. Not the person for me. My best friend who lives out in Nevada.
Yeah.
She is one of my soulmates.
Yeah.
I firmly believe she is one of my soulmates and always will be. Continue. And my own personal beliefs is that, you know, somebody can have many soulmates.
Right.
Your soulmates change your life. My best friend, when she came to my life, she changed my life.
Yeah.
She changed everything about where my life was going. First boyfriend did the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. Completely changed how I viewed myself, changed everything. And at the time, like, again, I was so broken that I got so insecure.
Yeah.
I just kept wondering what was so wrong about me. Because I really didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I just wasn't open.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, it's not like I was like mean or, you know, shutting him down
No,
or just things like that.
You were just kind of, because that was your first boyfriend. Do you think it was more so an experience than anything? Because you hadn't had like not childhood.
I didn't have experience in high school.
Right. So you didn't really
I was also scared.
Okay.
It was also scary, just being in a relationship with somebody, because it's like, I don't want them to go away, but if they do, I want to make sure I'm still distanced enough to where it's not going to hurt as bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be vulnerable with them, because if it doesn't work out, then, you know, then it sucks. And that's when also I realized it didn't matter if I wasn't vulnerable with that person or not, because it's going to hurt anyways.
Right.
And so my next relationship ended up being with my son's dad. And that was the worst relationship I've ever been in. And I'm not going to shit talk him on my podcast, because he's a different person now. Like, he's a way better person now. But when we were together, we brought out the worst in each other.
Right.
And the only reason, honest to God, the only reason why I was with him was because he was the exact opposite of my previous boyfriend in every way possible.
So you were kind of looking for that difference of the dynamic rather than just what you deserved.
Right. Plus, I didn't want anything to remind me of the previous person.
Yeah.
And it sucked because the previous person, everything about him was literally everything about me.
Yeah.
So anything that I enjoyed in life, I had to try to stay away from because it reminded me of him.
Right.
And it was miserable. Yeah. Like, that was a misery that I lived in for so long. After that relationship ended, a couple years went by, and I ended up dating somebody that I worked with at the radio station. And he was a good guy, a few years older than me, 3 or 4 years older than me. Like, he was a good guy, but he was very controlling, and not in like a bad way.
Yeah.
Just in a way where it was like nothing could ever go my way.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like, and it wasn't a bad relationship. Like, we weren't bad to each other or anything.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things that I was just like,
you guys were on a different trajectory.
Yeah. I was like, I don't like what you want for me and want for our relationship. It doesn't line up with me. I don't like it. So I just had to like get out of that relationship. And what I learned from those two relationships really was how to say no.
Yeah.
How to stand up for myself, how to fight for myself. Because previously I was a doormat. Yeah. I would let anyone walk all over me. I was a people pleaser, and I had to be nice to everybody. I was quiet. I was meek. I was shy. I was weak. And of all of those, I actually just stepped into my strength and just really realized who I was. And then, for whatever reason, I think I hit a quarter life crisis really, really bad and had to go to therapy. So I went to therapy for a while, and then that's when I met my now husband. And from day one, he showed not complete, but like a lot of vulnerability with me.
Yeah.
And that was so comforting for me. And it made me want to open myself up. Like,
because he made you feel comfortable.
He did.
Like, if this guy can show me that he's comfortable with his own emotions, why can't I be? Yeah, type deal.
And I know how hard that is, especially for men. But he was so emotionally mature, and he still is. And he's younger than me too.
Yeah.
So, literally from that day on, we talked every single day. There had not been a day that had gone by that one of us did not reach out to the other. And here we are, married with 2 more kids.
I remember some of the stories you told me about, like some of the dates you guys went on. I remember you were so excited you were so excited getting ready, and then you would be so excited coming back. And yeah, I don't know.
You can tell when somebody's with the right person.
Tell that you were happy and you felt better after your quarter life crisis, because I was with Dylan when you went through that, and I wasn't there for it, but I remember
too.
Dylan was here for it, and he kind of tried to help you a little bit, I think, but wasn't sure quite how.
Right. Well, because he, you know, is 7 years younger than me.
Yeah. But I remember seeing you go on those dates and just being happy for you.
It was such a different feeling. Again, you know when you meet the right person.
Yeah.
Because you're incredibly happy.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, I was just so at peace.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you're searching so long for something and then you finally find it. And it was like my soul was finally at peace.
Yeah.
Like the thing that my soul had been looking for was at peace. And we'll get into that in a different podcast because that would be talking about twin flames.
Yeah.
So later on, we're going to talk about that in a different episode. So
I would say something to watch out for, though, because you're talking about, you know, when you found the person because you're so happy. Sometimes, though, love bombing can be a part of that. But I think more so that comes into play when you recognize a pattern of, you know, disrespect and kind of an emotional or even physical or mental abuse happen. And then all of a sudden they're great and they're respecting you and giving you things or whatever, and then the pattern repeats itself.
Yeah, that's when you have an up, down, up, down, up, down.
Don't mistake that for your soulmate. Please.
Oh my God, no. Or your twin flame.
Yeah.
There's so much, you know, we'll talk about that in a different.
Yeah.
If I get into it now, I'm going to literally talk about it for the rest of our podcast.
We got shit scheduled, Jamie.
But yeah, it just, every single day was exciting and happy, and it was just, you know, I felt again at peace.
Yeah.
There wasn't any drama, there wasn't any high expectations, there wasn't any gaslighting, there was just like so much previous abuse that I'd gone through before. There was none of that.
Yeah.
For the whole year that we dated. It was just, I mean, then we had like our like tiny miscommunications that we of course approached each other with calmly and got through them. And I'm just like, this is what a relationship is supposed to be like. This is easy. This is fun. This is, nothing is difficult. We are honest with each other. We communicate all the time. And that's how I got my husband.
Yeah. On that note, though, of like your past abuse not being present in that relationship, that's what drew me to Dylan. He respected my boundaries. He had no sexual expectations of me at the very beginning, because that was a problem I ran into a lot with some of my boyfriends, except for the first one. They only wanted me for sexual advances.
Yeah.
And I always said no, because I didn't want to have sex with anybody unless I knew that that person was going to be in my life permanently, because my mom always preached to me, the person you have sex with is the person you could probably have a baby with, and that person is going to be in your life forever. So you should want to make sure that that person that's in your life for forever is a person that's going to be there to love you and support you.
Yep.
And so I was never sure of anybody, and I always told them no. And I think that's another reason why boyfriend number 2 did not stay with me. It's because I told him no on many separate occasions. And this is just speculation. I don't think the other girl did. So
that happens a lot in high school. That's why I tried to stay away from any of that.
So I think that had a lot to do with it. But then when I met Dylan, he didn't have any of those expectations, and he was very respectful, and he wanted to be on my timeline, and he just he was so kind and gentle and loving. And I had not experienced his kind of love ever, and I knew that that was something that I needed, especially with what I was going through with my dad. And he was very supportive of me. I was in a very emotionally immature place when I met Dylan. And when after like the day after we got married, I found my old phone that I had when we did start dating. And I was going through our text message thread, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, you can be better than this emotionally. Because he would ask me what was wrong, and I would just refuse to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was me seeking attention, me seeking validation, or me just
I want
genuinely...
you to ask me again 3 more times. And
I
then
don't
I'll
know what my deal was, because I don't remember. A lot of that stuff I blocked out because I didn't want to go through it again.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I profusely apologized to him. Like, I was like, you did not deserve that, but I appreciate that you endured it, because now look where we are.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of stuff too, is in a relationship, a long-term relationship, a marriage, a life partnership, anything, you have to be open to growth.
Yes.
And you also have to be open to helping your partner grow. And I hate it when you're hearing a story or you're watching a movie and a couple's in an argument and one of them says, you are not the person I fell in love with. People change.
Yeah.
You cannot always want the person to be the same.
Honestly, expecting them to stay the same for their entire lives, that's almost selfish.
Right.
It's almost like a selfish thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I hate it when, I mean, this is going into like deeper, like into your marriage and stuff, when, and a lot of men will say this to their wives after their wives have had their children.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're just not the same person you were, 7 years ago. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to go out and party anymore, Jim, because I fucking have 2 children.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you expect from me?
Did I tell you about the dream I had with my first boyfriend?
No.
I had a dream that he called me fat. Not like called me fat. He just goes, your body's different. And I was like, yeah, I had a fucking baby. And then a girl I never got along with in high school, she stole my car. And I called her and I was like, hey, can I have my fucking car back? And she was like, no, I'm taking care of my kids. And I'm like, I have my own kids to take care of. That was the entire dream. But like, I'm just like, but yeah, it's expecting your partner to stay the same, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, whatever.
Yeah, oh my God.
That's not practical at all. And if you and your partner grow apart, don't make it I don't want to say don't make it a big problem. Maybe absolutely have a conversation about it and see if it's something that you guys can figure out. And if it's a big enough deal that neither of you want to work on it, don't be together.
Well, honestly, and the way I look at it as, if you guys grow apart, it's because you weren't maintaining your relationship through your growth.
Either one or both of you. And that's another thing. Marriage is, and I don't want to say just marriage. Relationships, you both have to want it. You both have to be working on it. If one of you is carrying all the weight and the other person does not give a shit, it's going to go sideways.
Yeah. Love is effort.
Yeah.
You need to put in effort all the time. It doesn't matter what kind of effort it is or what you're doing. Most people just want to see the effort.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many relationships that'll end and one person will be like, I just don't know what went wrong, and the other person's like, you never fucking tried.
Yeah.
You never did anything. You didn't help with like the home maintenance side. You didn't take care of anything with me. You didn't help me through my grandpa's death. You didn't do this. You didn't do like some people are just blindsided and they don't understand why after the marriage ceremony is not time for you to just sit back and say, okay, I bagged them and we're good. No, you have to maintain the relationship. If not every day, every week.
Yeah.
For I think it was the whole first I don't even think it was the first year of our marriage. I think it was our entire engagement plus almost the whole first year of our marriage. It was almost every single night me and my husband said, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Like, we checked in with each other every single night. Is there something more I can be doing for you?
Yeah.
Is there something that I'm doing that you would like to be different.
Yeah.
And essentially what that's saying is I'm open to change for the better for you.
Yeah.
And you do. I mean, you can't just be that person. It's like, well, this is who I am and this is how I'm going to be. That is something a fucking 5-year-old says.
That's very toxic of you.
That it is.
That is you being very emotionally immature. If you are not mature enough to want to change yourself for the better for somebody and you are just like, well, this is how I am and it's going to be like that, deal with it. Mm-hmm. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Don't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Work on yourself.
Grow up.
I feel bad for whoever you're with.
Yeah.
Especially if that other person's open to change and they're just asking you to like pick your socks up off the ground and you're like, this is just who I am. Yeah. I like my socks cluttered on the floor.
Right.
If my husband asked me to pick up my stuff, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get to that as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm. Just like what I told you earlier, I've been having a really hard time interrupting my husband when we're having conversation, and he is like, you've been interrupting me a lot lately when I'm talking, and I just want you to know, like, I know you have reasons why you kind of do that, and I accept those, and I'm trying to adjust and things, but I don't know if you just don't realize that you're doing it,
right?
But you do it a lot. And, I had already realized I was doing it. I was trying to change,
right?
Trying to fix it more. And I could only catch myself so much. And, it's not like I started getting defensive. Like I just, yep, I am doing that. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I want you to know I'm currently trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you just need to put your fucking ego away.
You need to be self-aware.
Yeah. Be self-aware. Put your ego away. If somebody approaches you with something that's bothering them, you can put your ego away and say, I'm sorry that's bothering you, and I can adjust to make this a better environment for you and for our relationship.
Yeah.
There's so many relationships that I've seen. And the couple that I've been in, it's just been, hey, you do this and I fucking hate it. Stop. Like, okay, first of all, that's not how you
don't approach me that way.
Yeah. No.
If you approach somebody like that, they're automatically going to get defensive because you came at it the wrong way.
Yeah. And most people I've noticed come at those things the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why do I have such problems in relationships? It's like, because you approach the problem out of annoyance.
It's aggressive.
Yes. It's too aggressive.
Yeah. Which is my problem. I subconsciously come at things very aggressively and I don't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that like I have to catch myself doing. If I say something a little bit too aggressive, I will stop myself and say, I'm so sorry. I did not mean for that to come out this way. And then I will correct myself. Mm-hmm. But that's, again, being self-aware.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were talking about, how you and Alex address your issues where you ask, like, what do you need from me or whatever.
Yeah.
I do that when Dylan's upset. And a lot of my problem is if Dylan is angry or upset at something, my brain automatically thinks it's my fault.
You. Yeah.
I think I did something. I don't like I just assume that I'm the problem. And I don't know why, because my parents never made me feel that way. But I think it's just because I'm insecure with my habits. So I automatically assume that it's one of my habits that I'm still working on correcting. Even though it's not. But I will ask him, like, what can I do? What do you need from me? How can I help you? That way, if he does need something from me, I'm aware of it. And if he doesn't need anything and it's just something he has to work out for himself, then I have to deal with that. I have to deal with that in myself of not being able to help him, because that's my problem is I want to be able to help. Yeah. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't help the other person through what they're doing. And that's something that I struggle with a lot, because then I will sit on it and I will stew on it and continue thinking it's my fault, even though I know it's not my fault.
Yeah. Well, I think that comes from being a type of person who is so self-aware that you already know what all of your flaws are.
Yeah.
So when somebody's upset around you, you're like, oh my gosh, which one is it?
Yeah.
Which
what
flaw
did I do?
is it this time? And it's so good to be so self-aware.
Sometimes it's a burden.
Yes, but either way, that's where the growth comes in.
Yeah.
You one by one start fixing these little things that you see in yourself that you don't like.
Yeah.
And that are problematic / toxic traits.
Yeah.
Everyone has toxic traits in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I hate reading those, like, Facebook posts and things that are like, which zodiac sign's the most toxic and blah, blah. It's everyone. Everyone has the power to be toxic.
I hate the ones that are like, my zodiac sign's the best sign, hands down, blah, blah, blah.
Those are
everybody
so
do da 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 da. And I'm like, every
Those are so
zodiac
tone
sign.
deaf.
Every zodiac sign has their good traits and their bad traits because we all have to balance each other out. No zodiac sign is the best. It's all opinionated. Like, I could think your zodiac sign is completely trash, but you could think mine is the best zodiac sign of all.
Yeah. Well, it's also it's just how you treat each other.
Right. That's why we call them evolved and non-evolved zodiac signs.
Yes. Well, and that's when you get into when you're not into astrology.
This will be a whole different thing too.
Yeah. You just like don't get it. But like when you're into astrology, you actually know how to approach each different sign.
Yep.
And then you understand that every person has the ability to be toxic. Mm-hmm. And every person has the ability to be non-toxic to anybody. It's just if you've grown out of that and fixed that in yourself.
Right.
And you need to be self-aware to do that. Whew.
Yeah.
It's a lot to say.
It is. Do we have anything else to add? Because I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say.
I think I've said everything that I wanted to say. I mean, like, yeah. Another big thing in relationships is, and this happens a lot when you're in new relationships or you're new to being in a relationship, a lot of times a lot of people will see the potential in the other person.
Yeah.
And not see them for who they are right now.
Yep. And that was a lot of my problem.
Yes. If I could give somebody, like a young person, fresh in high school, in dating, or in the world, please accept the person for who they are right now.
Not who you see them as.
Right. Yeah. Whatever their potential is, it does not matter. Yep. Because if they aren't open to growing, they will never grow into that person.
Yep. Take off your rose-colored glasses.
Yes. Yeah. And just accept them for who they are right now. If they are not who you need them to be right now, you just need to get out of the relationship. Yep. Stop waiting for them to change because there is a good chance they won't.
Yep.
They could.
That's when if they wanted to, they would comes in.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of people need to hear. If they wanted to, they would.
Yep. Just like the best kind of apology is changed behavior.
Yep.
If they are apologizing to you and they don't change their behavior, they're not truly sorry.
Otherwise, the apology is manipulation.
Yeah. They're not truly sorry. They're lying to you to manipulate you.
Yep. They are telling you what they think you want to hear. That way you will drop it.
Stay or leave them alone about it.
Which is something I had to learn the hard way with my father. Mm-hmm. Which is a different kind of relationship. But that is a lasting relationship that I had to bring myself out of for the betterment of not just me, but my husband and my child and our little family that we're making.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's all I have for now.
Yeah.
The rest is going to be for another episode.
Yep.
So what is today?
I think that this will be releasing on
the 12th, right?
The 12th. Monday, so 12th? that's before Father's Day. Like right before Father's Day.
So, this weekend is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Happy Dad Day.
Happy Dad Day. Hopefully you guys are out there, planning some fun things to do for dad or with dad. Mm-hmm. And hope you have a great weekend wherever you are.
Right. So usually the last few episodes I've been posting a Q&A, but we've got a few questions to kind of gauge you guys or engage you guys in the conversation. And I think I'm just going to plug the email down below. That way you guys can answer them as you wish and not have to worry about the Q&A. So regarding the Father's Day, What are some plans you guys have? What are you looking forward to in Father's Day? And most of all, what's your best dad joke?
Give us your dad jokes.
We want to hear those dad jokes. Do you have a dad joke, Jamie?
I don't actually right
I don't
now.
off the top of my head.
Most of the time I do. I
think most of the things I said are dad jokes. I have got dad energy. It's all the masculine zodiac signs I've got in my chart.
Yeah. It's my Capricorn North Node.
Yep.
Dad.
But to engage in the episode, our questions are: what are lessons you've learned from past relationships? How do you continuously work to improve both platonic and romantic relationships? Like, what is the work that you put in to make your relationships better?
Yeah, we'd love to hear that. Maybe share some of that advice on the podcast too, because we're all about sharing things that help make everyone, help everyone live a better life, give everyone ideas.
Yep.
And so everyone can grow.
Absolutely.
That's all we want, is for everyone to just start growing in a better direction.
We're like a garden.
Yes.
You got to put in the work to make it beautiful.
A garden.
And on that note, I think we will say goodbye.
Toodles noodles.